Hey guys, for tutorial 3 here, I thought I'd create a little game and then use it to help us to see how we can integrate motion into our animations. So I've got baseballs flying across the stage here. I've got Cat, he's moving, he's jumping, dodging. In addition, I've put a little teleport feature as well, that he can jump and teleport as long as he doesn't get hit by the baseball. Alright. Well, let's get into it and see how we can make this work. Alright, so in this project I set up the background already. You can grab that from down here. I've got the cat and the baseball. For right now, I'm going to hide the cat. We don't need him this very second. And I've put reset codes for both the cat and the baseball. I set the cat at 50% of the size, so the regular cat was just too big on the stage, and then the baseball at 30% of the size. So if we want to think about motion, we're thinking about moving the baseball across the stage. We've got several options. We can go with a glide, so we can pick a position. So if we wanted to go all the way across, we can make it go to X, 250, and then we'll set the event to when that's clicked. So if we click this, it should move across the stage 150. We can change this if we want to. Or we can give it more direct instructions. Let's say I wanted this to appear and then go a certain amount of steps. We can go over here to control and give it the repeat command. Okay, so the repeat command might be to move, to change the Y direction by 5. Okay, so I'm going to hit G to reset it, and it's going to repeat that 10 times. So when I click this, okay, it changed the X direction by 5 10 times. Well, that wasn't very far. So we could do two things. We could increase this, let's say to 15. We're going to hit G to reset. Okay, it did a lot faster. Let's say we don't want our baseball to move that fast. Okay, let's say we want it to stay at 5, but we increase the repetition. So let's make this 100. Now we can see the baseball moves across the entire stage. Now, if it's a baseball, it needs to be spinning, right? So if we come over here to motion, we can add a turn 15 degrees to this, and as it moves, it will rotate. Alright. But we want, when we hit the flag, we want it to kind of reset. So let's go ahead and duplicate this, slap it there. So instead of hitting G every time, we can just start it. It looks kind of weird when it pops in right there, so we're going to add something else. We're going to add a show hide. So we can hide this object so that it doesn't appear when we first hit the flag. And then we can hit the control and make it wait a second. And then we want it to show back up. So what we've commanded it to do is when we hit the flag, it's going to hide. It's going to wait 1 second. It's going to show up and then start spinning all the way to the end. But it looks kind of weird stopped at the end, so let's make it disappear. To do that, we're going to go into the controls and get into our if-then statements. Now in this one, we need to hit our senses, and we're going to use touching. So if the object, the baseball, is touching the edge, we're going to select, we want it to hide. So when we hit our flag, nothing's there, pops up after 1 second, rotates. When it hits the end, it disappears. So that's the first step of this game. Alright, so now that we have our baseball set up, let's go back over to our cat. Let's hit show so we can see it. And this baseball is currently hidden, so we'll leave it like that. Alright, so I have this reset code. When I hit G or when I hit the flag, the cat's going to go back to this spot. It's going to point in 90 degrees, and it's going to make sure that it's at size 50% of what it normally is. All right, so let's talk about motion now. We want the game to recognize when we're telling the cat to do something. So we're going to put in when the flag is clicked. We want it to constantly check for something. We want it to constantly check for if we are hitting the arrow keys, right? Left or right. So forever, we want it to always check if the arrow keys are being hit. So we're going to go to senses. Oh no, not touching. We want to go to where's it at? Ah, here it is. We want to go if keys pressed, and we're going to change that from spacebar to right arrow. Alright, then we need to make sure it's pointed in the right direction. So when we hit the right arrow, we want to make it point to the right, point in direction 90, and we want to change that x coordinate by a certain amount. We're going to just leave it at 10 for right now. So as long as I have this flag clicked, whenever I hit the right arrow, oh, there's our baseball. Whenever I hit the right arrow, it's going to recognize that I hit it, then it's going to make sure my guy's pointed in 90 degrees and change it by 10. So here I am, I'm pressing it, then I can't press it anymore because he's to the end. So we told him how to move to the right. Alright, so let's teach him how to move to the left now. Hit G to reset. So we are going to do a similar thing. We're going to duplicate what we just did. We're going to put it down here, but the issue is if we just tell this to go to the left when we hit the left arrow, watch what happens. Okay, so I'm going right, now I want to go left. Oh no, what happened? He's still going to the right, and he's turned upside down. Remember, the computers only do what you tell it to do, so we're going to hit G to reset this. So the problem is we have to change how it's rotating. So we have to change the rotating style to left and right. Once we do that, it will turn left here. In addition, we said change the X by 10. So it's going to keep increasing by 10. So what we have to tell it to do now, since we want it to go to the left side, is do -10. Go the opposite way. As you go from the left side of the stage to the right side, if you notice at the bottom here, your X is increasing. If you go from the right side to the left side, it's decreasing. So when we go to the left, we want to decrease. When we go to the right, we want to increase. So we're going to hit the flag. Our baseball, we're chasing our baseball, but now we can turn the other way. Turn both ways. All right, so we are going to now move on to our jump. All right, and this is where it gets slightly more complicated, but that's all right. We're learning. Same thing, we want, whenever the flag is active, we want it to constantly check if we're hitting the space bar. So the space bar is what we're going to use for our jump. We want it to forever check if we have the space bar hit. So we're going to go down to key, which is right here. Key, when the space bar is hit. Then what do we want to happen? Well, we want him to move up and down, basically. And we're going to grab a repeat here. This is the most basic way to do a jump. We're going to grab 2 repeats, and we're going to change, the up and down is the Y, so we're going to change the Y by 5 on the way up, and then by -5 on the way down. So 5 on the way up, -5 on the way down. So let's watch what that means for us. So here we go, we hit the spacebar. As we hit the spacebar, he goes up and down, but let's add an extra touch to it. All right, we're gonna go into looks and grab switch costume. We're gonna grab 2 of them. One of them. I'm gonna stop this. One of them is gonna be costume 1. One of them is gonna be costume 2. So when you hit the space bar, you want the costume to switch, and then when it's done coming back down, you want the costume to go back to its original one. Alright, so now when we activate it, we hit our space bar. He looks like he's doing this little jumping motion. So we can hit over on the arrow, do our little jumping motion, and he is jumping all around the screen. Alright, so that's our tutorial for how to make a move, how to get the ball to fly across the screen. The next tutorial we're going to be looking at teleportation, how I get him to jump from one side and then appear on the other, and also how the other baseballs get to fly around, and that whole death sequence when he says ouch and it stops all the scripts. Alright, hope you enjoyed it.